All right, here we are. Woohoo! Welcome to
Hey.
Hospitality Sales Masterclass. We all made it. This is the only thing that's a bummer is that not everybody's showing up on the feed. So I guess as you guys start to interact, I'll see you guys bounce around. But I'm thrilled to be here with you, and I've been adding some little things. So we're just gonna. Okay, is it gonna let me present? So we're going to start. This is something as I shared with you in the webinars that you guys all saw, I spend a lot of time with business and personal coaching. And one of the people that I really enjoy is, her name is, I'm going to move you guys to the top here so that we can see this. Her name is Marie Forleo. You guys haven't started to follow Marie Forleo. Marie Forleo is pretty cool. She's a great business coach. She works with a lot of entrepreneurs, solopreneurs. She's very socially conscious. She's a girl from New Jersey, so she's got a little bit of sass. She has a heck of a lot of personality. And when I signed up for one of her courses, she had this commitment contract. And I loved this commitment contract. So I'm just going to read it. And then I want to share ask all of you to see that you are going to say you're in and you're fully committed. So the commitment contract is, I commit to I commit to show up fully for the duration of the Hospitality Sales Masterclass. This includes doing everything in the hospitality class, watching every lesson, and completing each of the fun sheets to the best of my ability. So those are your assignments. I further commit to excellent self-care, including getting quality sleep, staying hydrated, and moving my body. The more I care for myself, the more love and compassion I have to share with others. I commit to bringing an open mind, a generous heart, and my fullest and best efforts to this experience. So if I could just have everybody go through and say that you're committed. That's what I'm going to say. I'm committed to the Hospitality Sales Masterclass. That would be great. Who wants to kick us off?
I'm in.
I'm in. I'm fully committed.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. And let's see. So a little bit about me. I'm going to just biz through this and share with you. As you know, I've spent 13 years on the hotel side and 14 years in the site selection side. Let me see where where all of you guys are going to hang out. That makes it the most sense. I'll move you over to here now. Okay. So the biggest thing that I want to share with you is, I've already shared, and this is part of working smarter versus working harder. My peak portfolio had 30 clients. Those 30 clients placed 400. I've got someone else ready to join us. Sorry, let me just stop sharing and admit one more person. Okay. We're not going to have anybody else to admit because we're all here. Now I'm going to start to share again. Okay. Yeah, we've got everybody in. So on my peak, I had 30 clients. Those 30 clients placed 400 meetings a year. Those 400 meetings a year consumed 20,000 room nights. The other thing that I want you to know is I've been doing this since 2005. This meaning site selection professional. Been doing that since 2005. So if you kind of do that math, 400 meetings a year times that amount of time, I have negotiated over 5,000 contracts. So my bird's eye view is much higher than a lot of you folks that are coming from an individual property or that are coming from a destination. So when I say that, I can see what's happening in California versus what's happening in New York versus what's happening in Chicago versus what's happening in Northern California versus Southern California, and all of that stuff. And that's what I want to have you understand is my breadth of experience from my 13 years on the hotel side and my 14 years on this side. In addition to negotiating all of those contracts, I have also put this together from my experience with being with Helms Briscoe, but also being more of an independent site selection professional, I have started to talk to other independent site selection professionals. And I'm going to share with you right now, Helms Briscoe averages, when I left, 1,200 associates. Conference Direct is about 450 associates. HPN is about another 450 associates. I'm not quite sure how many associates are in Experian, but you know, they've got a ton of associates as well. Why I'm sharing this with you is the folks that are in my space, the independent meeting contractors, but there's independent site selection professionals that have peeled off from some of these others, or they just started by themselves. From North Star meetings and from CVent both, there are 6,000 people who share my space. Not that's above and beyond the Helms Briscoes and the Conference Directs. So I just want to, and what I have done is I compiled information from talking to all these people to present with you here today and for the rest of this course. So that's a little bit about me. I want to know a little bit about each of you, and I want you guys to introduce each of yourselves. I want to know your name, your organization, if you're furloughed, where you're furloughed from, and or if you're laid off, or if you're in between positions, where you were last from. And then I want you to take a few moments to share why you are here. And we have 15 of us on the call today. So if we could, I'm going to stop sharing just so that you guys can see each other a little bit better while we do this. If you guys can share that. Oh, and we've got chats going too. Yay, everyone. Okay, thank you for being in the chat. For those of you who have yourselves muted, let me start with Tracy. Why don't you go first?
Hi there. Yeah, I'm Tracy Hunter. I'm the Director of Sales with the Inns of Monterey. We have a portfolio of 5 properties here on the Monterey Peninsula. I've been here for just about a year and a half. And the reason that I'm here today is, you know, you're never too experienced to learn something new. And in these challenging times, I needed to have something to uplift me a little bit and motivate my team. And certainly was intrigued by your conversations about winning and securing new relationships and new business with third-party planners. So thank you.
Thanks, Tracy. And Deborah Weiss, if you could unmute yourself and then tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, hi everyone. Deborah Weiss. I'm at the Westin La Paloma in beautiful Tucson. I have been here in part of the group sales team for 20 years and love it here. But I just was thinking, what if there's a bunch of stuff that I am doing that is annoying my third-party planners and I don't even know. Like, I just don't know what I don't know. I think in my bubble of my head, I know what I'm doing because I've been doing it a long time and have been successful at it, but I would like to be more successful at it. So that's why I thought it was valuable to join in.
Thank you. Darlene Smith.
Hi, Darlene Smith, Lake Arrowhead Resort and Spa. We just reopened, so back after being furloughed for 4 months. And same thing, I just was really intrigued by your, motivation that you're talking about, how to deal with third-party planners, and we want to be able to be a good client for each way. And so I just thought this would be really good for us. We are definitely struggling where we are. There is just very little business coming up besides transient, which is great, but we're really trying to figure out how are we going to salvage the rest of the year and 2021. So
Awesome.
The help I get.
Thank you. Gabe, if you could go next. Gabe Romero.
Gabe Romero. I'm with the Sheraton San Diego Hotel and Marina. I'm currently furloughed. I have multiple reasons. One is I've worked with Christina when I was at the Sheraton and in previous roles at the JW Desert Springs. She speaks very highly of you, so I wanted to take the opportunity to, one, engage with you, but then two, keep my skill set sharp. I think it's kind of one of those things where if you're not using it every day, I feel like it's dull, and it's a tool that I need to keep sharp. And being in this arena over the, especially after being off for the past couple of months, this will help me continue to keep my skill set sharp.
Wonderful, Gabe. Cindy Smith. can you share with us a little bit about you? You're muted, Cindy, so if you could unmute yourself. I can't hear you.
There we go. Okay, I'm back on. Cindy Smith, Director of Sales and Marketing at the Anaheim Majestic Garden Hotel. I'm still currently furloughed. You know, in our world, Disneyland is the epicenter of our being. And of course, that's very important to our transient market. But through the, as everyone has in their own hotels, I'm sure experienced staff reductions. Our staff has been minimized to fewer salespeople. So I'm here to learn how to, again, refresh like everyone else, I've been doing this forever, but to continue to learn to work smarter, not harder. You know, our third-party clients have always been very important to us, and now with a reduced team, our third-party clients are going to take center stage with us too. So here to get a refresh and make certain that we're not missing anything on that, including our skills in that connection with our third-party clients. And so I'm here to learn and absorb.
Awesome. Liz Ratcliffe, I see that you are muted. If you could unmute and introduce yourself, that would be great.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Liz Ratliff, and I'm with the Ritz-Carlton in downtown Denver. I actually started the middle of March, so I worked for an entire week and then was furloughed, but actually was called back last week. So I am back at work now, which is awesome. But again, just kind of wanted to get back into the swing of the sales thing after being off for almost 4 months. And, you know, starting at a new hotel, I want to make sure I get in there and as impactful as I can be right from the start.
Awesome. Thank you. Deborah Weiss, you're muted. Could you unmute yourself and join us? Thank you.
Sorry.
That's okay. Oh, you already joined us. I'm sorry. You said something before with your camera off. I forgot. So I'm going to go to Fran Brown. Can you share with us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Fran Brown. I'm Senior Sales Manager with Kalahari Resorts and Convention Centers. I am in Ohio. We have 2 additional locations in Poconos and Wisconsin Dells, and soon to be around Rock outside of Austin, Texas, opening up November 12th. Excited about that. Most what I'm learning about partnership with third parties. I was not furloughed. It was me and my director of sales. We are currently had 8 sales managers. We're down to my director of sales, myself, and our gal in Wisconsin Dells. So everybody else is furloughed. We have 4 people in our office right now. And just learning how to be a good partner to the third parties and some of the key takeaways that we can learn how to just be more visible on our RFPs.
Wonderful. Thank you. Tori Black, can you share with us a little bit more about you?
Hi, I'm Tori Black. I am opening the Grand Hyatt in Nashville, Tennessee. We're actually opening next month, so kind of a crazy time to be opening a hotel. But I'm just really here to be the best salesperson that I can be and the best partner I can be to the third party. And, you know, I don't think that you should ever stop learning. So that's what I'm here to do.
Wonderful. Amy Beardsley, you're muted. If you could unmute yourself and tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, so I am the, can you guys hear me? Can you hear me,
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Okay. I am the Director of Sales at the Origin Hotel Red Rocks in Golden, Colorado. And I've worked with you before, Michelle, and also Christina and Annette. Not since I've been in Colorado, so I miss all my California people, but I've been here a couple years, so was not furloughed either. Our hotel is actually doing pretty good right now, but all things considered. But I'm now at a boutique independent hotel, and versus being at the big, you know, the Marriotts, the Sheratons that I was at before. And I want to just kind of see your guys' perspective on, you know, COVID, what you're looking for. I've attended a ton of webinars, but I just feel like it's very blanketed. So I know that you guys are always honest and will tell us what we need to hear. So want to learn about, you know, what you're looking for in the site selection process, especially during COVID, because we know this is not going away anytime soon. And just, you know, again, see how your relationships are with us and how we can do better to improve those.
Thank you. And Blossom Adler, if you could unmute yourself and you could unmute yourself. I know you added something here.
This is Chris. Blossom is unable to turn on her audio. Yeah, sorry.
So she just shared that she's a sales manager at the Lake Tahoe Resort, looking forward to learning new ways to sharpen her sales skills and stand out to third-party planners. Robert Flores, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself. Robert, you're on mute. We need
Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect.
All right. My name is Robert Gazelle Flores, and I work as a sales manager at the Anaheim Majestic Garden Hotel in Anaheim, California. I also work with Cindy Smith, who just spoke a few moments ago. And I have been furloughed since March, and I'm actually on here. She recommended me to this webinar, and I thought it'd be a great opportunity just to learn more about third-party planners and how to kind of stick out, especially during this time with COVID.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nancy Wagner, if we could hear from you. I think you're muted. Let me see if Nancy shared anything. Nancy? Okay, I'm going to move over to Renee. Renee, can you hear us? I see that she's doing some stuff there, but it doesn't look like she's connecting. Is there anybody that I missed that wants to jump in and share? Got somebody who's rejoining us. Is there anybody else that I missed that wants to share anything about themselves?
Yeah, this is Chris Kiesling with Lake Tahoe Resort Hotel. Hi, I got on my phone so that I could see and speak. We don't seem to be able to get audio from our office. So we're excited to be involved with this program, Blossom and myself, to learn more about working with our partners. And I'm also very interested in learning more about the CVent proposals and how they look from our planner side. That's going to be, I'm looking forward to that one. Awesome. So we can better offer our proposals. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. And Renee, I see you're with us.
Hi.
If you want to go ahead and share with people who you are on the team.
Hi, I'm Ronnie Palma, Chief Sales Officer for Visit Oakland.
And welcome everybody. We've got a full class. I am really excited because 17 of you signed up, and we have 16 people here, and I know one person is going to be watching it, but I don't know about you. I'm kind of impressed with who we have on the call here today. This is a high level group of folks. So we're going to get a lot out of our time together. Thank you so much for taking that moment. And I'm going to go back to sharing my screen and going more through the PowerPoint here. So here's the truth. As I shared with you, I do a lot of personal and professional development, and everybody on this call is in sales. So there's a couple of sales books. I told you about the Challenger Sale. Another book that I highly recommend, these are the two that we kind of consider the Bible here at Avery Murphy, The Ultimate Sales Machine. Chet Holmes is, he just breaks it down, and it's pretty gosh darn simple. And I love this quote, and a disciple of his, because Chet Holmes is no longer with us, a disciple of his shared, I'm going to move you guys to the top here so that you can read this. Ted Miller, I just did a training with him, very good one, and he reminded me of this, and I think it's wonderful. You're going to understand all of the principles I share with you here today, and there's nothing but logical information here. You're going to agree with them, and you're going to know that I'm right and that these principles will work in your business, and you still will not do them. So this is a little reverse psychology for you here to help you make sure that you go through and do the assignments before we meet next week. Site selection, professional mindset. Okay, let me just keep this all right here. So we talked about that a little bit. On the webinar, I shared with you you know, what it looks like when you give up that you give your 2-week notice. Everyone here is in a traditional job, or you're furloughed waiting to go back to a traditional job where you collect a paycheck. And I think the bigger thing for me to share with you here is I'm actively recruiting Avery Murphy rock stars. And a lot of people follow my career path. They're former hospitality sales professionals, whether they're on the CVB side or they're on this side. That's about 75% of who makes up site selection professionals. They're people that have walked in your shoes. The other 25% are meeting planners that actually use the service, that say, like, this is the best thing since sliced bread, and I totally get it, and I want to continue to do it on this side. That might come actually from this pandemic, because you guys have been furloughed and everything, but I'm also doing market research right now to do a meeting planning course. And in that, one of the things that came up that I'm not surprised is meeting planners are concerned on whether or not they're going to have jobs. If they can't actually put on meetings, why do their companies need them? So but when I start to talk to potential Avery Murphy rock stars, here are some of the questions that I get. So Michelle, okay, it's 100% commission, but do you pay my expenses? That's a big fat no. No, you pay your own expenses. Okay, Michelle, it's 100% commission. I pay my own expenses. Talk to me about my health insurance. That's yours to cover as well. Okay. That's so, and the other thing that happens when you come over to this side is you're not just a sales professional. You are an entrepreneur. So, okay, so you hustle and you get accounts. Even if you're working for, like I did with Helms Briscoe, I got the contract. I don't get paid until I do something with the contract. Just because I got the contract doesn't equal Michelle gets money in her account. I had to, what I call, stimulate the system with Helms Briscoe to make sure that I got paid. Here at Avery Murphy, I have to send out the pickup reports, collect the pickup reports, and then send out the invoices and follow up on the invoices to get those. So, and in addition to that, let me go back to Helms Briscoe. When I was with Helms Briscoe, I had to keep books to make sure that Helms Briscoe did their job in collecting the money from me, and that I got the money from Helms Briscoe. I still had to keep books, another set of books that I presented to my CPA to do my taxes. It's not as simple as just going into TurboTax when you do this. I did have to get my own health insurance. So then it wasn't as simple as going to HR and what are my options. I had to figure out what it was that I wanted to do for health insurance. Collecting money, if you're with Helms Briscoe, it gets direct deposited into your account. Avery Murphy isn't large enough. Guess what I started to do again? I'm making bank runs. I'm going to the bank. I'm depositing the money. And if you are successful like Avery Murphy, the checks are too big to do with the app. Like, you can only do up to $2,500 in the app, and then you have to go into the bank directly to deposit the check. So these are some of the things that I want you to think about with a site selection professional. I want you to understand their mindset. They don't just do site selection and contract negotiations for their clients. We are also running a business and figuring out how to run the business. And a large part of that, of course, is sales and marketing, and then actually having to do the things that we do to do our job. But there's other things that we have to do. You get to a certain size, like my size, then you have to look for administrative help. And do you do a virtual assistant, or do you do a regular assistant? And then you have to help train them and figure out what they do. You guys on the hotel side and on the CVB side, when you have an administrative assistant, who trains your administrative assistant? The previous administrative assistant, right? That's who trained them on my side. There was one person, actually, Annette and I used to work together on the hotel side. And Annette, she was always the best salesperson to train this administrative assistant. She's very German. Okay. And Germans tend to be, okay, we've got to march this way, and they're rule followers, and you have to do this and then you have to do that. And I always wanted to work with whoever Annette's administrative assistant was, because her administrative assistants were the best. Well, now I had to find an administrative assistant that was a self-starter, because I'm a really good delegator, but that's not my skill set. So I had to find someone who was complementary to that. So now, the thing I want to ask you, has anyone on this call ever considered being a site selection professional, or have any of you ever been recruited by Helms Briscoe, Conference Direct? Have any of you considered taking this path?
I
Yeah.
have. I've been approached. Mhm.
Okay. Okay. So what I want to do next is I want to do a little exercise. So for a moment, let's do some role playing. And I'm going to use Avery Murphy. Okay. Let's say you guys have either decided that you are, whoops, let me go back. Whoops, going the wrong way here. Let me stop sharing for a second and go back to my, there it is. There it is. All right. I lost you. There you are. Let me go back to the sharing. And leave the current slide. Whoops. Play from the current slide. There we go. So let's say if you're at the property, you gave your 2-week notice. If you're in, if you are furloughed or in between positions right now, let's say that you're giving this some consideration. And you joined Avery Murphy because it's the next logical step in your career. Like you've been on the hotel side. A lot of you guys are veterans in our business. I heard a number of, I've been doing this for 20 years, either in your current position or and some of you guys I know you guys have been doing this for 20 years. So you just gave notice. Now, when you do that, think about what you guys just had happen when you got furloughed or laid off. A lot of you are at work, but a lot of you have been put back to work, called back to work. When you got furloughed and laid off, I know we're in the pandemic, so everybody was just kind of a little wonky, like, oh my gosh, like, is this really happening? You know, for a long time, we couldn't even go to restaurants. Like the only thing you could do was go to the grocery store and the bank. And I don't know how everybody's like now figured out how to Zoom, because Zoom happy hours were all the rage. Zoom cooking parties are all the rage. Everybody's been binging on Netflix. I think Netflix, if we all had a crystal ball and we could figure out what to invest in, I don't know anybody who wouldn't have invested in Netflix and Zoom, right? Though, like all of a sudden we get into all these things. And it started to become normal for us. And as it started to become normal, if you guys are on Facebook, you're watching everyone. If you haven't done a home project or cleaned out a closet, I'd be shocked. Somebody has cleaned out a closet here. Somebody has painted their room. Somebody has, I can't tell you how many people I've talked to that have been on the webinar that have bought new houses and are doing house renovations. Like, this has been a time where everybody starts to do that. That's what site selection professionals do. We go from the traditional desk office, and then we get into the home office. And when you're at home, you're like, okay, I'm going to get the laundry all cut up. Okay, I'm going to clean that cupboard. Okay, I'm going to get my home office all set up. And that usually involves at least 1 to 5 to 10 runs to the Goodwill, because you've cleaned everything out and you've been to the Goodwill. I don't know if anybody here has tried to go to the Goodwill since you've cleaned out one of your things. In San Diego, the main Goodwill is accepting goods because everybody has cleaned out all their closets and everything during this pandemic. That's what site selection professionals do as well. So now, when you first join, you're really excited. And as I shared with you before, you start really working the phones and you start calling. And there's clients that I know each and every one of you have that you're like, I love working with this client. and maybe you've moved to a hotel and the client can't come with you to that hotel because they don't book that destination. I'm thinking of Amy, you've moved destinations. You said, hey, I used to work with you guys when I was in California. Now I'm in Colorado and I don't see you guys. You know, there's always somebody that you think, oh, I want to bring them with me. And then now that you can sell to the whole world, you can bring them with you. But here's the deal. You don't get paid until that meeting consumes, after you've sent the pickup report. So you guys, one of you said, hey, I want to know what I'm doing to make sure that I am not irritating my third parties. The biggest thing that you can do that's like a tactical thing that you can make sure your staff does, when you get the pickup report, send that thing straight back, because we can't invoice you until we get the pickup report. The other thing is not all hotels pay on time. Some hotels pay in 30 days, some hotels pay in 45 days. Even those of you who are working with the Marriotts and the Hiltons that have the fast pay programs, I'm still getting fast pay for meetings that happen before March. What are we in, July? So, you know, if those are just two like tactical things to think about. But when it starts to set in about this sales cycle, this longer sales cycle, it starts to set in about the 9-month mark, about the 6 to 9 month mark. You've reached out to a lot of people and you're like, okay, you might have closed some deals. If you're a rock star, you have definitely closed some deals. And now you're waiting for the money to come in. And it depends on your mindset, because I'm now working with rock stars and people that have gone from employee mindset to entrepreneur mindset. And I'm going to use Christina as an example here, because some of you have worked with Christina, and some of you, that's the reason why you're here, because of your positive experience in working with her. Christina gave me her first portfolio, and she's like, hey, Michelle, I only have $20,000 on the books. Now, I'm going to tell you, Christina she joined Avery Murphy 9 months before she started, because she saved money for 9 months to help her go through that sales cycle. In the time that she was saving money and still working her job that she was at, she found business. And I booked that business for her. So a couple of the accounts that I booked for her, when I got them, I qualified them. A couple of those accounts had meetings. She had meetings consume before she actually started working. So she had some money coming in, but that first year she's looking on the books, the first full calendar year, she's looking on the books and she's like, I've got $20,000 on the books. And she's like, you know, I said, but Christina, your portfolio, I've qualified it. You have over $60,000 worth of business. She's like, no, I don't. I'm looking at my contracts. I've got 20,000. And I'm like, yeah. And that one account that you have 2 programs, that account is worth 12 programs. So, and she was eager. She's like the avatar of an Avery Murphy rock star. She's the person that I hold out there. And it took her a long time to understand this concept of how you qualify even an account differently than you did when you were on the hotel side, because you're looking at the entire account. And this was just a single person. This wasn't an actual account. So that's one aspect of it. So can you guys think, just take a moment. I'm going to drink my tea and let you just think about what mindset shifts do you have if you give up your traditional paycheck and you were to join Avery Murphy Helms Briscoe Conference Direct today, and you are paying your commission, you're paying your health insurance, you're paying for when you take a vacation, you're paying all of your expenses when you're entertaining clients. Think about that mindset for just a second. Okay, so now I'm going to move forward to, I did this same hospitality sales masterclass in April. And there were 10 students that had signed up in April. And the shock and awe has worn off. You can tell things are changing. I don't know how many of you guys are on Facebook and on hospitality family, but when I first started talking to people, and I say this with a lot of I'm trying to find my right tone and my right way to say this, but in April and May, when I was talking to folks in your position, people were, this has never happened to us before. We've never been furloughed. We've never been laid off. I've never had to take a cut in pay. I've never had to get rid of my team. You know, we've got a lot of leaders here that have had to downsize their teams. I've never had to do that. And almost the way that they were talking to myself, I'm going to speak to myself, was like, you have no idea. And all I could think of is, oh, baby, I absolutely have an idea. How do you think we felt in January of 2019 when the commission disruption happened? Some people, and I don't know who on this call might have been part of that group, and it's not a bad thing, it's just a naive thing, but some people said it was a business decision. It's the exact same thing as what happened when you got furloughed and laid off or you had to downsize your teams. Those were business decisions. It doesn't feel good. It's more than a business decision. It's like, how are you thinking things through? So when you're thinking about your third parties, think about the fact that we had the commission disruption happen to us in 2019, and then we had the pandemic happen to us in 2020. We got bam, bam. Do you feel like that little bit of a difference? The other thing that happened for us in this pandemic, so be mindful of this, is we had to take advantage of government programs. So we had to figure out what PPP was and what it stands for, and how to apply for it, and if we can apply for it, and all that other stuff. Then we had the small business EIDL loans, and we had to figure all of that out. And then it turned out that we could apply for unemployment PUA. While we were figuring out how to actually have money to sustain us, to get us past to the point where people were booking, we were working with our clients and working with you to either cancel meetings because of the force majeure clauses, or we were moving meetings to the fall. Some meetings got moved from the spring to the summer if they really were trying really hard to have them. Some meetings got moved from the spring to the fall. And we did all of these negotiations. And I know several people with Helms Briscoe who moved all of their meetings to the fall, and they are in the thick of relocating all of those meetings again, a second time. All of those negotiations and everything that we've been doing, we don't see any money from that. It's the first time that I've heard where Helms Briscoe has had to start paying back all of their advanced deposit placement fees. So when you start to think about what it is for your, I don't share this with you. I'm not shaming you. And I'm sharing it with you so that you understand the mindset and everything that the site selection professional is going through. And we're site selection professionals. What do I want to share? As I said, think of us as your client, not as your partner. But as a partner, we refer to you as our partners. We refer to you as our partners because at the end of the day, your organizations put money in our bank accounts. So site selection professionals aren't going to share this with you unless you have developed that relationship like I talked about in the Challenger sales book, that relationship where we're going out for cocktails and it's not on your expense report. You know, we start to go out for cocktails and it's because we're friends, and you know, someone says, oh, hey, Michelle, I want to put that on. And I'm like, no, I'm going to put it on my expense report this time. These cocktails are on me. I need to take some business expenses. When those are the only site selection professionals that might have this kind of a conversation with you, because it's kind of like poor manners. Like, you don't need to know the dirty laundry behind our business, but this is about how to stand out, and I'm sharing it with you so that you understand our mindset. Because when you understand our mindset, you can't help but communicate with us differently. You can't help but have more compassion about what's happening to us as your clients. So anybody have any questions? This is an interactive, so if anybody has any questions, go ahead and speak up, unmute yourself, and let me know if you have any questions. All good?
I think so.
Okay. I'm not looking in the chat, so I'm going to go through to the next one. So mastermind. You guys are like an awesome group. I'm impressed. I'm excited. I am absolutely thrilled to have all of you here, because this is a really great group, and we're going to start to mastermind right now. And I'm going to spend a lot of time today talking about the assignment, because there's 3 assignments. Part of earning your seat deposit back is attending all 4 of these or watching the recordings, and I will put the recordings into the Facebook group. But part of earning your seat deposit back is doing the 3 assignments. So the rest of the time that we have together here today, and I spent a lot of time because you guys are such a big group, we might go a little bit over an hour. If you can all stay on, that's great. If you can't, I understand it, and you'll catch everything in the recording. But we are going to, here are some email subject lines for active RFPs. Where are you in the sales process with and client, or the meeting name? Where are you in the sales process with ABC client? Where are you in the sales process with ABC company? Where are you in the sales process? That is a great email line, rather than, can I get an update? Following up on. This whole thing is about standing out. So change it and talk to the site selection professional as your client. And the way that you do that is you ask them where they are at. So what does that mean? Where are they in the sales process? Well, I have a lot of clients that are, my portfolio is mature. So most of my clients I have worked with for a while. But when I onboard a new client, my needs from you are different than with a client that I have had a relationship for a long time. Here's another nuance that I'm just getting kind of a download on this. You'll hear me say that from time to time. The universe just kind of downloads things to me. I'm the chief groovy officer, so I'm pretty hippie, guys. So this is, I get a little hippie-ish. When you are talking to, so you might be talking to organization. Let's take one of my friends with Helms Briscoe has the Wells Fargo account. So you might say to that Helms Briscoe associate, you might say, hey, I know you've been working with Wells Fargo for a long time, but he might be working with a brand new meeting planner. And his needs with that brand new meeting planner are going to be different than the 5 people that he's been working with for 10 years. So asking, even if you know that they have the account, Helms Briscoe had ESPN, Helms Briscoe had the Google account, Helms Briscoe has, they've got some, I just said Wells Fargo, like these are accounts that, Helms Briscoe had the TSA account. There's some pretty big accounts out there. You're going to know who has what on the Conference Direct. They have this account. You're going to know who has that at HPN. You're going to know who has that at Experian. They might have the account, but the person that they're working with might be a brand new person. And their needs from you are going to be different with a brand new person than with a person that they've had the relationships with in a long time. So that's what I'm saying. That's what you're asking when you put that in the subject line of a brand new RFP that you're trying to get a site selection professional to follow up with you, to respond to your email so that you can move the sales process forward. The second email subject line that you can use is, how can I make you look good? How can I make you look, I got a typo in there. I need to write the word good and I need to proofread my stuff. So, hey, you can tell that's not, I'm going to keep my day job and I'm going to keep doing hotel site selection and I'm not going to do PowerPoints, but how can I make you look good to this client or this meeting name? What you want to do is make them look good. Now, site selection professionals like myself that have a lot of experience and a pretty mature portfolio, I'm going to know that you have me in my best interest in mind. And if you have me in my best interest in mind, then you're going to have my client's best interest in mind. And I'm going to skip right over that. And I'm going to go, this is what you need to do to impress this client. I guarantee you, everyone who is walking in my shoes that has a long-term relationship, they're going to go, that's interesting. You want to know about me. Because all of you guys are excellent out there, and all of, you wouldn't be here if you aren't at the top of your game. But it's like we get going so fast that we forget to take that little bit of time to slow down that might actually get us further ahead faster. And this is one of those things, how can I make you look good? That's going to make us pause because we're not going to see, nobody does that. The first time I did this in April with the 10 folks, I started to get emails when I did an RFP, and it was, hey, Michelle, how can I make you look good? And I just giggled, and it stood out to me, not just because I did it, but it stood out to me because that's what you want to do, is you want to rattle our brain. You want to make us shift, right? And then the last one is, may I learn more about you and your hot buttons? So I could tell you what Michelle's hot buttons are. That's interesting, but that doesn't mean that's Christina's hot buttons. That doesn't mean that that's Annette's hot buttons. Some of you are here because Monica Pla invited you. That doesn't mean that that's Monica Pla's hot buttons. Some of you are here because of Brett Sorensen. That doesn't mean that's Brett Sorensen's hot buttons. And I'll give Brett as an example. Brett does everything through email. I'm a phone girl. Obviously, I leave a whole word out of a little sentence here on a PowerPoint that I've used this PowerPoint 3 times. That's why I don't write, because I have a little dyslexia and I'm more comfortable over the phone. So that's what you want to know. That's the subject lines for there. Now, that's just so that I can help you get through what you're working with today, because I am confident that all of you guys have some RFPs going out there, because we are working active RFPs and business is still happening. And we'll start with that. Can somebody make a note and remind me when we're together next Wednesday to tell you about how business is still happening? Because I think that's important for us to talk about. I'm going to write myself a little note too. And when I say business is still happening, I'm not talking about individual business travelers, and I'm not talking about leisure travelers. I'm talking about there is group business happening. I want to say that again. Group business is happening. We just have to figure out where it is and get it to us, right? So turn that off. Let's get back to this slide that we're on right now. Here are your 2 subject line choices. The subject line choice is either help needed, or do you have 20 minutes to answer a few questions? Actually, change that 20 minutes to 10 minutes, because this really shouldn't take more than 10 minutes. And I'll share with you why. In the body of the email, or you can do this via a post on LinkedIn. I would recommend LinkedIn more than Facebook, but you can certainly use Facebook. But I would recommend doing this on either an email or do this on a post on LinkedIn. If you do it on a post on LinkedIn, I would recommend that you do more than one post, because I don't really know how the algorithm, I'm more of a Facebook girl than a LinkedIn person, but so I don't know how the posts work to make sure that your post shows up on top. So in the body, we've got the subject lines, help needed. And then in the body, you're going to say, I'm part of a hospitality sales mastermind, and I'm looking for 10 site selection professionals to answer 5 simple questions. If you're willing to hop on a quick 10-minute phone or Zoom call with me, please call me at and put in your phone number. This is all being recorded, and I'm going to upload the slides for you guys so that you can see all of these as well. And you're going to insert your phone number. Here are the questions that you're going to ask over the phone. And I'm going to, you guys can read these questions. I'm going to answer it how I would answer it. You say, hey, Michelle, I've got a few questions. This is how I'm going to answer it. How many clients do you work with? Individuals, not companies. Because like I just said, someone could be working the Google account.
Okay.
That's one account. But some people could be working the, in Google, they probably have like 20 people that they're contacting. So you want to know individuals, not companies. So you say, Michelle, I say, oh, I have they range between 20 and 30 clients. How many meetings do your clients place annually? Ask them pre-COVID. You want to get some pre-COVID information here. My 20 clients place 400 meetings annually. What are the total room nights of those meetings what are the total room nights that those meetings consume annually? They consume about 20,000 room nights. What are the top destinations your clients select? In my case, I would say 60% of my clients book in California. The other 40% book throughout North America, predominantly the major markets in the US, but I also do have a little bit of Canada and Mexico business. And then you're going to ask, what is your business mix of clients? So in my case, I would say I have 40% state government, 40% state association, and 20% corporate. So now here's the thing. You're not asking me who my clients are. You're not asking me what my next RFP is. These are, if you start asking me who my clients are, that's like asking me, Michelle, what do you do invest in your 401k? Would you ask anybody, how somebody might say, do you have a 401k? Do you have a financial consultant that you do? How do you do that? It's like asking somebody, what do you deduct on your taxes? You wouldn't ask them real personal information, but this information, site selection professionals will share with you. They share it with me. People that are my competitors share this information with me. Now, you have access to 10 videos where I've asked these first 3 questions. Those 10 videos, I didn't ask these bottom 2 questions. Now, here's where the mastermind comes in. I worked at Helms Briscoe from 2005 until 2012. When in Southern California, if someone came to Southern California and they did a luncheon, they would invite all of the Southern California people to there. You don't know if the Southern California people are booked in California or not. I love, the best one I love is Monica Pla. Monica Pla goes to a lot of the events in Southern California. Monica Pla's book of business, the majority of it books international. So I don't think we have anyone international on this call. Not saying that Monica doesn't do business in this area, but Monica's business portfolio is predominantly international. So yeah, you of course you want to maintain a relationship with Monica, but in a time like this, is that where you're going to put your eggs? Are you going to put it in that basket? For those of you that are in Colorado, or I've got someone, I think Fran, you're from Ohio, are you going to put Michelle in your basket to call? I just told you that 60% of my business books in the state of California, right? So Helms Briscoe doesn't have this information. Helms Briscoe doesn't share, you know, that's why they do that hosted buyer event where you go and you do that, you know, reverse trade show and you do everything there. That's so that you can, like, you got an RFP from this person. Okay, maybe you got one RFP, but you don't know really where the majority of their business is booking. This is so that you can find out, I can look at a list of site selection professionals. If my market is all association, am I going to call on somebody that their portfolio is all corporate? The inverse is true. If my vertical market is corporate and Pat Zolman is another person who's on the Hospitality Sales Masterclass interview, predominantly Pat Zolman's business is association. She's got a ton of great business, but are you going to call on Pat if your market is corporate? Sure, you want, Pat's a nice person. I love Pat. Pat taught me how to do contracts. Of course I'm going to talk to Pat, but is that in a time like this, you want to go to the people that'll actually help you get business on the books today, right? So these questions are very easy. They're 5 simple questions to ask. Now, here's the first assignment. You are going to complete 10 calls by next Wednesday to site selection professionals, and you're going to post them on the Facebook group. Everybody's going to do this. So you aren't just going to get access to your 10 calls. This is the beauty of the mastermind. You are going to get access to, there's 15 people on this call. Everybody does their homework, their assignment. You're going to have 150 qualified site selection professionals, and then you're going to be able to see who should I concentrate on, who should I have my team concentrate on. Now, because I coach people, I coach sales professionals, I coach entrepreneurs. And I did this because I love the $97 seat reservation, and I thought this was so great. So I did this with the Avery Murphy team. And what I did, we have a team impact call. And what I did is I said, okay, how many, you know, the team impact call is from 10 a.m. until 11 a.m. And on the team impact call, I said, okay, guys, everybody, what's the number one thing that brings money into your business? And of course, you know, they said clients, 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 right? So then I said, okay, how many calls are you going to make today? And they said 10. It's a real easy number. They said 10. And I said, okay, what I'm going to do is I want you to Venmo me $97, and I'm going to give you till next Tuesday to make those 10 calls. Anyone want to venture a guess on how many people actually did it? And I gave them a little bit of an out. I said, if you don't connect with 10 people, if you can't connect with them, leave them 3 voicemails between now and then. That'll satisfy the same thing as a connection. So that's, if they connected with 5 people, 5 times 3 is 15 dials. I'm sitting here, 1 person did it, I did it, and 2 people forfeited their $97. So what I want to share with you, because some of you I've actually reached out to and called to invite you to become part of the Hospitality Sales Masterclass. I've done this. I said an hour to an hour and a half. To speak with 10 people, you need to make at least 50 dials. Okay? Because in order to connect with the 10 people, you're going to have to make 50 dials. I've timed myself. I can do 20 dials, even with connecting with somebody shortly, I can do 20 dials in an hour. So to do 50 dials to speak with 10 people is going to probably take you about 3 hours to do. Now, where are you going to find them? Where are you going to find these people to do that? So I have to get out of here and go to here. And let me move you guys all over here. Okay. Whoops. Go back over there. Stay there. Stay, stay, stay. Now, the first place you could do, you could go to your current list. And if you've got an active RFP, you can ask that person to help you out with this. And here's the other thing, folks. Business is not normal. We're clients. I've been talking to clients. We used to get invitations coming out of the wazoo. We used to get, you know, people dropping off swag. We used to get people calling us, you know, because you had full sales teams. Everybody was calling us. I get my email boxes loaded up, but I can't tell you the last time I had a solicitation phone call. Nobody's working the phones because you guys don't really have time to work the phones. But if you start working the phones, I found this even with the clients that I've been doing market research with. People have time. Clients might say, oh, you know, I hate it when you drop by. I don't want all of your nice swag. Like I don't have enough time for lunch. And I'm just going to say, bullshit, right? Pardon me for not using professional language. Absolutely. They want to hear from you. We're clients. We want to hear from you. We want to feel what's going on out there. So people will talk to you, I guarantee it. So you might want to start with the site selection professionals in your list. If you're working an active RFP, it's another way to stand out to them without saying, you know, after you ask the questions, then it'll probably come up organically where they say, oh, and by the way, with this RFP, this is what's happening. You know, they're helping you move things forward a little bit. But how you can find them if you don't have them in your list is you go to this thing on Helms Briscoe's website and you go to Associate Locator. And here's another trick. Everybody starts with A. So you guys might all have the tendency to start with A. So start with something like Z. And look at here. Here's all their emails. Here's all their phone numbers. It's not going to be any struggle to find 50 people. Same thing with Conference Direct. Go to Conference Direct. You go to the associates. And here's the associates. They start listing them right there. This is where you start to find it and you qualify it. I just gave you 2 examples. You can go to Experian, you can go to HPN. That's where you're going to do this. Now, when you make those calls and you gather this information, you're going to go to the Hospitality Sales Masterclass Facebook group. And I see so many of you have already signed up. Thank you. I have a question just to see who is here. I have one person who wants to join and I don't recognize this name. Oops, I've got another. Debbie, we're going to put Debbie on. Who is Victoria Block? Is that you, Tori? Is that
That's
Tori
me.
Block?
Yep.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
me.
I didn't recognize the Victoria, so let me approve you. You're all in.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. I've just got to make a little note here so that I don't hound you guys. So I've got Tori Burke in, and I have, who did I just add in? I just added, I think it was Deborah Scroll. Oh, I'll do that later. So you're going to go to the discussion, and under the discussion, you're going to find this link here. Here is the updated link for everybody that everyone may access. This is where you're going to put that information, and I pulled it up here. So you will put in the first name, the last name, the name of the organization, the number of clients, the number of meetings, the total number of room nights, frequently booked destinations, and what their percentage of their portfolio is right here. And then you're going to save this and upload it to the Facebook group before our call together next week. Anybody have any questions?
I don't think so.
Okay. Let me just see. Well, you don't need the closing page. I'm going to do the stop share. This has been really exciting for me. Have fun with this. The phone is your friend. I'm going to share with you something that one of my Helms Briscoe mentors said to me. She used this little acronym and I love it. It's called PUFF. Pick up the effing phone.
A good one.
But seriously, and if you wanted to, you could do this via Zoom. You know, connecting with people like this is a fun way to do it. Making a Zoom call isn't a bad thing to do. You can do it via Zoom if you'd like. It's quick questions, so you can do it over the phone. And it's and have fun with it. Get excited about reaching out to your clients and get excited about what we're going to share when we come back next week. Well, you know, what you may want to do is I would allow myself like a half hour to talk to the person after you accomplish the assignment. What I would recommend is ask them what's happening. I will share with you, I was going to do this, business is still happening. So my goal was to have 15 people in interviews. I've accomplished 10. 2 of them I was able to do because of this furlough and people had some extra time. But I called one person that I really wanted to have. She doesn't have any extra time. She's booking a ton of business. She has so much business. Her portfolio is active right now. She doesn't have that much business. Then there's someone else that I was talking to who was feeling a little challenged because his prediction was that business might not come back until 2022. That might be his portfolio. There was someone else that I was speaking to in the beginning of this that they said in May that they had clients canceling meetings already in May, the beginning of 2021, because a lot of his clients were on a fiscal year and not a calendar year. So anyone who was on a calendar year, they at least had a first quarter. Anybody that had a fiscal year starting April 1, they didn't have a first quarter. And especially if they were doing incentive groups, they didn't know how that they could do an incentive group because they couldn't even like, how do you even measure it if you don't have a first quarter? So their business, right in May, they started canceling business actually for Q2 of 2021. Because that's when they would have had their incentive groups. So if you have some time and the person is chatting with you, take that time and do some discovery and figure out. I don't see anything lumping into one bucket or another, but that's part of our mastermind going forward here, is that we can find out by doing all of this together what is actually happening in the marketplace and when groups are getting to be back. One of the things that I am doing for you with everyone that did the interviews is I'm asking them how many active RFPs that they're working, how many pieces of business actually did take place during the pandemic. Avery Murphy did have one client that did have a meeting in July in California. Wasn't a large meeting, but it happened. When are their first meetings on the books so that we can have this intelligence, so that we can speak from intelligence instead of in gathered information rather than speaking from a place of fear, which is there's an acronym for fear that I'm just going to share with you that you may or may not have heard: false evidence appearing real. So anybody have anything that they have any questions on or anything that they want to add? I am like absolutely thrilled to have you all here. Is there anything that you'd like to share before we conclude our time here together?
I really enjoyed it, Michelle. I just wanted to say too, I've been on a couple of advisory boards where it's just interesting to hear you say, how many people are booking business right now. I guess it does depend on where you are, and I'm staying very positive, and that's what you have to do. And the more people you speak with, the more you find out that some people do want you to call on them now. Some people do want you to wait until the end of the year or the first quarter, but it's all about dialing for dollars and the numbers game and getting in more and more calls to find the right people for your area, so it'll be interesting to do this assignment. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Anybody else?
Yeah, it's Amy. I will say that it's kind of refreshing to hear you say that, that you want to hear from us, because I've seen a couple other webinars where I went to one 6 weeks ago with the Helms Frisco rep, and she's like, don't blow up my emails. I'm trying to reschedule. It's frustrating when salespeople are constantly trying to reach out to us. And so, you know, that's, and she's like, I understand it's your guys' job, but at the same time, it's like, well, I would think now is the time to make connections, right? So
Right.
it's good to hear that from you and your perspective, because there's a lot of conflicting information that I'm hearing personally. I don't know if other salespeople are, but I don't know. It's nice. Your perspective is helpful.
Thank you. And, you know, here's, Amy, I just want to talk about that a little bit is it goes into how to stand out. If you know, I have just gotten so many flat-footed emails from hotel sales professionals. It starts off with the first sentence. I want to make sure you're safe. I want to make sure you're okay. I want to make sure that everything's going well in your world. And oh, by the way, do you have any business for us? Now they might do that very sophisticated in the next, or, you know, or it's like, oh, my hotel has got all these clean safety things going on. So, you know, we're doing our standards and all that stuff. You know, that's getting rolled out by everyone. That's getting, you know, the Marriotts and the Hiltons and, you know, now is the best time to travel. I don't think we're ever going to be on in a cleaner airport, on a cleaner flight, in a cleaner hotel room. This is an excellent time to travel. It's all in how you approach them. So approach them, as the client, when that mindset shift. Like, I want to learn more about your portfolio, and, you know, just like, what are you predicting? I started to ask that question of people, like, what are you predicting? And I'm getting anywhere that they anticipate groups coming back the end of this year, starting, or that groups will, I'm getting that, you know, they're going to start to come back in 2021. And actually ask them what indicators they're looking at. Some people are looking at the indicators of when concerts are going to happen. I was talking to an AV provider. When are concerts going to happen? And that's the sign of, like, when conventions are going to happen. Look at sports. I don't watch sports, but my former boyfriend was a big sports person, and you know, sports were all on, and it's funny enough, I was like, oh crap, this pandemic is for real. They canceled basketball. I'm like, wow, okay. Because I was one of those, it was like, is this really for real for a little while? I didn't let my views be known, because if it was for real, I didn't want to sound like an idiot. But when basketball got canceled, I was like, oh, this is for reals. And it's kind of interesting to see how, like, even entertainment, when, you know, some people are saying, I think movie theaters are going to close, but I think that's a big industry. I think that they're going to figure out a way to make sure that we can see movies in a movie theater again. Some of them might fold, but I think it's just going to come back differently. And I think that's the same thing in our business. I think it's going to come back differently, and it's going to come back better. I don't see us going away. And I can tell you guys are all like, you guys are even leaning in, because can you feel it? Like, I can feel it. It's in, as you're talking to the people to get them on the phone. Amy, thanks for sharing that with us. We were also told back in April to stop selling. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
That's what I've heard. I wanted just to add that, you know, people are saying, you know, don't sell now. It's about connecting, though. Of course, you want to ask the question, you know, what's your forecast? What are your clients doing? But at the same time, I think it's all about the relationships and connecting with people and letting them know you're there. And interesting that you say that you don't want to hear what we're doing, because we had again, this advisory board committee from our CVB. It was really all highfalutin planners, and they were all saying that we want to know what you're doing because we want to feel safe when we come to you. So maybe that was a couple of months ago, and now that's, you know, it's everybody's doing it, like you said. So it's just, it changes so rapidly. It's so fluid.
Well, here's another thing. I was approached by somebody that is with a lab company that can surface test to, like, there's cleaning protocol, but how do you know if it's been cleaned? Or maybe you did clean it right, but you had a group come in and someone contracted the virus and they hit the elevator button. And how do you know that the cleaning protocol is working? How do you like, and if you do this surface testing protocol, you can at least say, hey, we tested it on Monday, everything was good. We tested it on Wednesday, it wasn't good. Who was here between Monday and Wednesday, so that those people can quarantine, so that so that it doesn't get spread further.
Mm-hmm.
One of the people that I know in the industry who's a sales trainer who has lots of contacts out, I thought this will bring groups back. I was like all over it. I'm like, this is going to bring groups back. He started to talk to the hotels. The hotels don't want to do surface testing, but he said, well, he talked to like smaller hotel chains and said, you know, well, why don't you just do a test with one and a not test with one and blah, 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 blah. The people that were doing these marketings on the hotel side, the VP level, the asset managers, the management companies, they've built all this stuff on their website. 25% of the people who book reservations look to see what the cleaning protocols are.
Mm-hmm.
People are saying that they want it. The people that are traveling, they're not looking at it. 75% are not looking at all those cleaning protocols. People are concerned about the liability. That's accurate. And they want things to be clean so that their organization doesn't get hit with a liability. Now, these are my opinions. I don't know this to be fact, but I don't know this from talking to a large spectrum of folks. So, and it is selling when you ask someone to, that is, you're qualifying them. The first, you know, after you build the rapport and you start to qualify them, that's one of the first steps of selling. That is selling. It's discovery, right? It's just how we do it in this age. Marie Forleo is another good one who talks about people and addresses the not selling. If you check out her website, that's pretty good. You guys, I want to be respectful of all your time because you are all leaning in and you're so thirsty and everything, but I am going to end the call for us all now, unless somebody has something that's burning that they have to get out there. You don't have to do a bunch of thank yous. I know that you're all grateful. I can tell by the fact that you're here. I am equally grateful, if not more grateful, that you are all here. And I'm so excited to see how successful your homework and your assignments are. I'm trying to change it to assignment. It sounds so much better than homework. And I look forward to seeing you in a week from now. And connect with me if you haven't joined the Facebook group. Join the Facebook group because that's where you're getting the recordings. And even if you just have to set up a dummy account and all you do is the Hospitality Sales Masterclass, that's what you want to do. So that's it. Be groovy, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.